Alright, this is going to be my last kind of group together kind of part of my collection here. After this, it's going to be superstar after superstar kind of deal. Group some of those together. But the last kind of group of DVDs I have here, I want to talk about greatest wrestling factions. First off, really aggravates me when I buy these DVDs from places like it's called Disc Replay, and they put their stickers right over the. It's like, come on, man. But whatever, nothing I can do there. Pretty good, obvious artwork on the front. You got yourself the Four Horsemen. You got yourself DX, Nexus, and NWO. I mean, those are really good. But what this does is it kind of goes through every one that you can, all the factions. You get a kind of basically maybe a mini documentary, I guess you could call it, and then a match with each one. It goes through DX. You get the Heenan family, Right to Censor, the Freebirds, Nexus, Dangerous Alliance, and the Hart Foundation. Some pretty good stuff there, I guess, especially the older stuff. You get SummerSlam, you get stuff here from World Class, though, from WCW stuff, a couple Raw things. So pretty much all this stuff is basically on release, which is pretty cool. And then you get yourself the NWO, the Brood, a Rock Bottom match, which is pretty cool. The $1 Million Corporation, and then you get Vince's corporation down here, the BWO, and the Nation of Domination. Disc 3 gets into Evolution, the Oddities, which kind of sucks because ICP's music is dubbed over, so I always wondered what happens with the rights to that, because I noticed that a lot on DVDs. Any kind of thing where there's any kind of different song, I notice it right away. And it just, you pay all that money for the rights to stuff and things like that. Like, you just can't fork out the rest of the cash so that the DVD matches up with the sound, but whatever. The Triple Threat here is also pretty cool. Shane Douglas, Bam Bam Bigelow, and Chris Candido. And you get Legacy, Dungeon of Doom, Straight Edge Society, and the Four Horsemen. So yeah, this is pretty much a very brief. It's a pretty good overview, but it's very brief as far as each chapter goes. So I'm kind of gonna get into a little bit more in depth of some of those. Um, Real quick, back to it. If I was going to pick out a DVD out of some of these that I would like to watch, I probably would like a Fabulous Freebirds one, because that would be pretty cool, because those guys were ones that had legitimate heat, especially down south. I mean, they were really bad guys as far as bad guys go, especially with their stuff against the Von Erichs. And the other one I would say, if the rest of it pretty much is all right. I'm okay with just the mini documentaries, but I would have seen one on the Triple Threat just to see these guys hang out. Shane Douglas, Bam Bam Bigelow, and Chris Candido, and they had Francine. So yeah. Now when we talk about factions, back in the day, we used to see managers. But as far as actual factions go, all the managers pretty much just, some of them did have more than one guy. Jimmy Hart a lot of times did. Freddie Blassie was another one. Sherry, but the bottom line is Heenan, and we'll get to him in 1 second. But as far as what you get on this DVD, just another little brief synopsis over different managers, and basically maybe segment, I guess you could call it, or I guess another mini documentary on each one of these guys. You do get a couple other cool stuff. You do get that Weasel suit match, and you get a tuxedo match with Cornette and Paulie Day. Anything with Paul Heyman, 1989 is pretty cool, and so you get Fuji Vice, just some really fun stuff. I remember this being a pretty fun documentary or a fun DVD to watch. A lot of cool stuff from the 80s. You get Sonny in there. But now, as far as factions go, this guy here, now his was a faction. Because anybody in the Heenan family was all together. There wasn't any time like Slick, for instance. He managed Nikolai Volkov and the Iron Sheik, and he managed Natural Butch Reed. Those guys are never together anywhere, ever. And he managed Akeem, the Twin Towers, So it's like when he had those guys, they were never together. He just had separate segments. Same thing with Jimmy Hart. When he had his guys, they were all just separate. But Bobby Heenan actually had the Heenan family. So that's why he's listed in that Factions DVD. I don't know if this one ever came with an insert or not. The disc art is pretty cool, but as far as the content goes on this one, you get a really good documentary on Bobby Heenan, and this guy he's just one of a kind. And you do get some really good stories. You do get a segment with him and Gorilla Monsoon going to Busch Gardens. You get some stuff with him and Mean Gene Okerlund. I know you get his WrestleMania 9 entrance where he comes in backwards on the camel. It shows where Gorilla Monsoon fires him on Raw. It does have when Gorilla Monsoon died, and he gives his little emotional tribute to Gorilla Monsoon on Nitro, which was pretty unheard of at the time, even for then. Then it goes to his WrestleMania 20 reemergence, and then it shows. What else was there? You get both Weasel Suit matches. I know you get the one from '80, and you get the other one versus Greg Gagne, and you get the one with the Ultimate Warrior. So that's pretty cool. I know he was in a tag team match. I don't know if it says it here, but he's in a tag team match. Or a handicap match. Him and Bockwinkel against Hogan, and then you also get the entire 1992 Royal Rumble match because of his commentary on it during Ric Flair's legendary win in that. And then you get the 2007 Gimmick Battle Royal that he comes back from too. But it also, like I said, this is going into the factions part of it, and the Heenan family was really cool. I know he had Rick Rude, he had Mr. Perfect, he had Tully and Arn, he had Harley Race. Obviously, he had King Kong Bundy at WrestleMania 2 main event. He had Andre in the WrestleMania 3 main event. So he got the Intercontinental title match with Rick Rude at WrestleMania 5. So he was in the main event picture all the time. Now, next up, we're going to go into, now I'm going to kind of go in maybe inverse order kind of deal. And we're going to start with the Shield. I would definitely consider these guys a faction. The modern day faction. I mean, I know the New Day is there. They're pretty much in, we had the Wyatt family that came around later too after that. But the Shield kind of, they came in and they were just unstoppable. And the first one, the Destruction of Shield, was actually pretty cool. You would think when it's called the Destruction, it's like falling apart, but basically it's like the destruction, the chaos that the Shield caused. And what's really cool is the disc artwork is actually really cool. So sometimes they put good effort into the whole thing. I mean, and this was definitely one of them. And sometimes, I even got to school myself because what's really cool is I didn't even know something like this existed, but it's the FCW 15 Championship, and it's actually a super cool idea. It didn't last very long, but basically it was Iron Man matches, with 15-minute time limits, which is super cool. I mean, most falls in that 15 minutes. They do Iron Man matches, it's an hour. Sometimes they'll give you a half-hour one. But this 15-minute one is a pretty cool idea, and I wish they would maybe bring that back instead of that silly 24/7. But you get the entire the rundown of when they started into NXT and Florida Championship Wrestling and their debuts on the main roster and all that. And you go all the way from, I believe it's 2011 to 2014. So the first 3 years of the Shield, which is pretty cool. And then after that, we came out with this one. I think this was in 2019. It's just a difference in how cheap and lazy, and you get nothing. These discs are just, there's nothing here. You get yourself a little insert with the match content. So what this one does is it goes from like 2015 to about 2018, and each one of them get their own disc. You get Dean Ambrose here, and he gets his list of matches. Disc 2 is about Seth Rollins and what happened to him after the Shield, and so 2016 to 2018, and then obviously Roman Reigns gets his too. So yeah, so basically from 2015 to 2018, 3 separate stories of the members of the Shield, and they pretty much ran that into the ground as much as they could. But pretty cool. At least the cover is cool. I like that. Next up, there's pretty much, if there's any factions that you could even think of that would be left, if you had to come up with the best 3, there is no way around it. And in inverse order, we will start with this, and we'll go chronologically this way, because you get DX. This one was super cool. I remember this being a 1998 or 99 VHS, and the cover is just super cool. It's so funny. But the VHS was pretty cool, and it actually was uncensored. And so this was a 2006 release, and I just remember when I watched it, it was a lot of it was censored out, which was kind of interesting because it does say uncensored here, DX uncensored, and I just remember there being three different parts of it where the women actually do show their boobs, and it's blurred out, but the content here is actually really cool because you get a lot of, it's all, I think it was, besides the casket match with Shawn Michaels and Undertaker from Royal Rumble 1998, the rest of this is all like, I mean, if it's on the Raw DVDs and stuff like that, but it's not any pay-per-view stuff. Shawn Michaels against Mankind, Shawn Michaels and Triple H versus Mankind and Undertaker, Triple H versus Bret Hart. You get the European title match here, which I think was like the equivalent of the finger poke of doom, where Michaels just lays down, and WWE title, Shawn Michaels, Owen Hart. So this one was actually, like I said, it was actually really good. And then they had these. They came back with these releases. Now this one goes over there 2000, and it was literally I think 6 months. It went from June 2006 to November 2006. But, this is pretty cool. This is funny. Jada literally constantly just loves to do this. You slide the little tab out, and little HBK, he's got his little tattoo there, which is pretty funny. So that's pretty funny. But that's probably the best part of the DVD is the fact that it does that kind of stuff. But literally, like I said, you just get all the segments from when they returned in June of 2006, and it goes down to Survivor Series of 2006. So just when you thought they couldn't get it any cheaper or basically lazier or pointless, they come out with DX One Last Stand. Look at this. This is a pretty cool shot. But other than that, you get no disc art, you get no photos, you get a little drawing, which is cool. You get no idea at all what's on here, which is just the worst. I don't understand how they can do that when you literally have no idea. You're putting together 9 hours worth of content, it says, and you literally don't know any of it. But I can tell you what it is. It is from August 2009 to March of 2010. 8 months. In the same deal, but you get their feud, the Hell in a Cell against Legacy. You get them taking on the Hart Dynasty, Jericho, when they won the Unified Tag Titles. You get Shawn Michaels' farewell on Raw. So there's still a couple cool things, but I couldn't stand that DVD. Next up, if there wasn't the NWO, there would never have been a DX. I guess it could be debatable, but there's not to me, and there's just no way. WWE came out with this in 2002, and which is like literally this one is actually kind of rare. And you can see WWF inside, but the DVD itself is a WWE or WWE release. So this one is kind of on the rare side. Disc art's actually really cool. It gets into you get some brief history of Hogan, Razor Ramon, Diesel, some Nitro stuff, and it gets into what they did in WWE. So you get the WrestleMania 18 stuff with Scott Hall and Stone Cold. You get Hogan and The Rock, some stuff like that. And then the extras down here, you get Kevin Nash winning the title. You get a Raw when they came back. But so this one was actually, I was okay with this DVD. It wasn't too bad. 2002, you get 3 hours, so it was all right. But then they came out with this one, NWO The Revolution. Here's another little completely pointless sticker. Like, I don't understand why it's got to be there. So 2012, we get this one 10 years after that first one, and we get into 3 discs, and it tells the entire, the story, all of it. And you get Scott Hall's debut, you get Kevin Nash's debut, you get obviously the Bash in the Beach match, and you just get a lot of matches with the NWO. You get the Outsiders and the Steiners. You get Rodman's match. I know you get Jay Leno's match down there. So a lot of stuff from Nitro, Goldberg, Bret Hart. Bret Hart joined the NWO. So there was a lot of stuff with the NWO because pretty much that's all it was in WCW during that time. And that's pretty much what made them go under. So some of the stills are really cool. But this one was all right. You can call this the New World Order of professional wrestling, brother. And last but not least, you get the greatest faction of all time. And just look at that cover, especially this version of the Four Horsemen. You got Ric Flair with the NWA World Title. You got Barry Windham back there with the U.S. title. You got Tully and Arn with the tag belts, monitored by J.J. Dillon. I mean, these guys lived it. They were this documentary, and you get yourself to a 40 chapter documentary. They get into every aspect of the Four Horsemen. This gang on the cover doesn't show up until halfway through as far as the chapters go. You get Lex Luger, you get Ole. I didn't even know they put Paul Roma in the Four Horsemen later on, which I didn't even know that. Benoit. So there's a lot of really good stuff on here, a lot of really good information, a lot of really, really good stories down here and segments and stuff. And then disc 2 is just, you get a whole bunch. These are all matches. These are all segments. Every segment is really, really good, and all the matches are really good. I like that they didn't put any of that new stuff. It's just all original stuff, 85, 86, 88, 95 with Arn Anderson and Ric Flair. But beyond that, I mean, it's all old school stuff. And those guys really, they were what made pro wrestling cool, as far as I'm concerned. They really did it. They had those limos, they had those jets, they had the women, they obviously had all the titles. So, people can say whatever they want about people that are cocky. If you're cocky and you back it up, it is what it is. Ain't no one whooping Arn Anderson's ass. Ain't no one whooping Tully Blanchard's ass. Ain't no one whooping Barry Windham's ass. Not even now. These guys are all old as shit. I wouldn't want to fight Tully Blanchard. There's no way. He still looks like a badass. That pretty cool thing on the Four Horsemen logo on the back. Yeah, so the factions are pretty, are complete. Nowadays, we do got, not even the New Day anymore. They're just pretty much a tag team with Big E being on one show and the other two guys on the other show. I can't think of any. Oh no, we got Retribution nowadays. That is a really cool faction. Hopefully we can get something out of that. But yeah, so it looks like we got 3, 6, 9. I got about 10, 12 releases here. Gonna go back into the plastic, and that's about it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.